The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
And we're talking how Auckland is preparing for the Rugby World Cup. Of course, apart from the ground, Eden Park, and all the roadworks that is going on around in Kingsland, if you're ever being able to pass through those places at the moment, it's busy. But what about the rest of Auckland, particularly the CBD? Well, Alex Sweney, of course, has a big part to play there with the Heart of the City campaign there, and he joins us in the Kiwi studio. G'day there, Alex.
Hey, top of the morning.
Yeah, now, one of the problems, I suppose, over the decades has been Auckland's rubbish, isn't it?
Yes, well, look, it's just so tedious, rubbish, isn't it? It's just one of those everyday things. Look, the reality is, there's a Rugby World Cup coming, and there'll be some wonderful rugby played, a wonderful stadium. We've got Party Central going on. There's a lot's going on. But, on those non-game days, you know what happens? The journalists are in town, got nothing better to do, so they go looking for the downside of
those damn Guardian journalists.
Yeah. And so, them and others. And often, it's the littlest things that catch you out. And sometimes they sort of undo even a great game of rugby. And we judge not by how good the game was or how great the experience was down at Party Central, but how bad our troughs were, and I know it's certainly not sexy, and you're not going to fix it up overnight. So, rubbish. So what did we do? Well, about a year ago, we said, look, we need to do better than this. So we started fixing up the rubbish collection time, so rubbish wasn't lying around during the day. Crazy that people would we'd have a rubbish collection in the middle of the day. Yeah. Rubbish was going out. So, and then we thought, well, look, we can actually do better than that, and let's try and make this just, dare I say, a little bit sexy. How do you turn a negative into a positive?
Yeah.
So.
You put Nikki Kay out there, didn't you? Didn't I see her collecting rubbish on one of those reality TV shows?
Bless her. No, that was a separate thing, but good on her for raising the game there.
Yeah.
And so what we did was we went and, perhaps we can make rubbish bags look a little bit attractive. So we've got flour. They're looking pretty, and we've got flour bags, rubbish bags.
So floral-looking patterns on rubbish bags.
So even when they're on the street, they look okay. So that's a good start.
Nice.
But you have to start these things and change customers' behaviours, not 2 minutes before the Rugby World Cup comes. You have to start changing behaviours a year out. So we've been doing this. This is we're out there in the third bout of this campaign.
Yeah.
And furthermore, there's those really nasty spots where people go and drag rubbish to. These are the bits around the corner and out of the way. So what we did was we went and we planted flowers in those, put flower boxes in those places. So,
they can't put the rubbish there anymore.
They can't put the rubbish there. So we've got beautiful looking rubbish, and where they used to drag it to, it looks even prettier.
Now, are those flower boxes there to stay?
No.
It's a Band-Aid on a crack then,
No,
isn't it?
It's not a Band-Aid on a crack. It's to go and remind people, entrench a new habit, a new way of treating rubbish. So, and as I say, we've been at this for a year. This is our third bite out there, and each time we've noticed a reduction in the failure out there on the street.
There is that thing, though, and it's not just Auckland and the Rugby World Cup, but it's events around the world where, the Olympics or Commonwealth Games or football or whatever it is, it all happens there, and the councils, they all get, so they scrape everything off the street, and then as soon as the event's gone, everything goes, oof. And then something, let's roll out the homeless people again. There you go. There's your little posse over there. Oh, let's put the rubbish out here again. Nothing changes.
No, that's what I'm saying. We started this not in time for the Rugby World Cup. We started this over a year ago, and this will be continuing beyond the Rugby World Cup. So this is just one of 101 initiatives that are going on. Look, we're building a city for people, and there's about 5 or 6 large physical transformational projects down there, what we're calling shared space that we're building in the city.
Tell me about that, because my first experience of that was
Street, probably,
late Saturday night, a few nights ago, and it wasn't too bad, apart from one, I think, boy racer, straight down the middle, as people were sort of trying to walk across the shared space.
What's happened is we've said no longer are we going to go and design our city or have it designed by transport engineers. The best view of New Zealand's coastline for years has been through the windscreen of a car. And so what we're saying is, we need to start designing urban spaces for people. So the car and the bus tends to blight the pedestrian experience. So if we can build a place, or places, pockets, the Melbourne-type lanes, where the pedestrian has got the advantage, then we'll start to build a culture up. And my pick is that in 5 years' time, So not the Rugby World Cup, but beyond the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
That's where the largest rents will be being paid, because these are the sorts of places that retailers want to be.
What about the waterfront? And there's lots of controversy about that, of course, with the party central and all that.
Yeah.
But beyond all that, when all that's gone, the party's over. What are we going to do? Are we going to be able to open up that space, much like they do in Wellington, and have it for the people of Auckland?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have the refurbished Shed 10 there for the cruise ship industry in an interim capacity while we sort out once and for all where the cruise ships
It's
go.
not for the people of Auckland, is it?
No, that's exactly right. But it's a public access into that Shed 10, which is going to be wonderful. But listen, just go a little bit to the west. Go down to Jellicoe Street. Go down to what was commonly known as the tank farm, and have a look at what they're doing there now. Now that is going to be completed in time for the Rugby World Cup. It's a spectacular piece of maritime access and
the tank's gone.
Restaurants. No, the tanks are still there. But there's Jellicoe Street is the first of 4 stages of development that are going on there. There's Melbourne trams will run through that area. There'll be a walking and cycling bridge across from Te Wero, so the access to it will be there. There'll be some great new public offerings out there, meeting places, a large events calendar running not just for the Rugby World Cup, but beyond the Rugby World Cup. And of course then there's the Maritime Events Centre. So this is this beginning of a transformation. We undoubtedly the tide is coming in. We're starting to create places for people that they actually will gravitate to.
That does sound great, and I'm really, really into that. But just getting back to the cruise ship, where do you sit on this? Do you support that being a long-term solution, the terminal there, or do you support it being further down?
No, we don't. There's no question. Around the world, we need to do better for the cruise ship industry. It's a growing industry. But what you don't do is you don't go and put cruise ships in the middle of your waterfront, a la Queen's Wharf. So we need to do better than Prince's Wharf, but Queen's Wharf is what we're calling a holding pattern and an interim place to be, and certainly an improvement on Prince's Wharf. But you see, we call it, these are transit lounges by the water.
Yeah.
They aren't attractive. An airport on our waterfront, we would never do it in a million years.
Yeah.
So,
it's a skyscraper.
But clearly a port needs to...
It's a skyscraper on the waterfront, isn't it?
But clearly a port has to be on the water.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put it in the middle of your waterfront. We call cruise ship terminals, it's a waterfront plan where you can't get your feet wet. It keeps a lot of Aucklanders away. When was the last time you travelled down the east side of Prince's Wharf, where the cruise ships currently go? You haven't. Why? Because there's a hellish amount of cruise ship inventory there.
Yeah.
Large loading gantries, a lot of
customs
and security and MAF and all that sort of stuff. So the idea of having that there on Queen's Wharf in the middle on the long term is just not a goer, and all the transport infrastructure that goes with it. We want to go and see Quay Street boulevarded. There's very positive discussions going on about that, so you can get down to the water from Quay Street rather than having this big transport sewer running along there with 30,000 cars every morning. So
might have trams, something like that.
Yeah, definitely trams need to run from the Wynyard Quarter, from the tank farm, across Quay Street, and up Queen Street.
Yeah.
And
basically replacing the tram system that was ripped out in the 50s?
Yeah, it's like fashion. It never goes out, it just comes around.
Yeah.
So perhaps we should just be, when it comes to city planning, we should be just a little bit more patient. We should go and plan with a longer-term view. We want to know what's going to be there in 100 years' time. And certainly the port's function is going to be reconfigured. And part of that port's activity should be a cruise ship terminal on the edge of the public aspect of the waterfront, and that's not in the middle of it where Queens is. So if Auckland is, if this Rugby World Cup's done anything, it's sort of galvanised us to create people spaces, and the legacy goes way beyond the Rugby World Cup. It's begun a public transport thing, a la the trams, and begun the discussion on the ports.
That's really good to hear. Alex Sweney, so thanks for coming in and being so positive.
It's always a pleasure. And it's actually easy to be positive about this, because this is a good story.
Yeah, it is. From Heart of the City, of course. Thanks very much. We'll have you back again soon.
Look forward to it.